One's a Chiefs fan, the other's a Pats fan, and together they make Primetime Dimes.
What's up, my fellow football fanatics, and welcome back to episode 23 of Primetime Dimes. It's really nice to finally be back, and we're your weekly source for navigating the NFL and CFB seasons in a world full of overreactions. And let me tell you, there have been some overreactions as of late. I'm one of your hosts, Megan, and with me as always is Chelsea.
Hello! Oh my gosh!
It's so
I am
great.
so happy. It's so nice to be back doing this with you again. It feels like forever. Oh, I'm so excited for this episode. But before we get started, I just need to say, go Dogs! What a game that Monday night game was. If you tuned into the College National Championship, you would know my Christmas wish has come true. The best way to start off the year with an Alabama upset. Now I know it's going to be a good year, but we will get into that game and more from the college football season next week. But this week, we are wrapping up the NFL regular season as that just finished up this past weekend. And we're going to be looking at some of the rookies, teams, and storylines that we've been following this season. And before we get into that, let's chat about how our fantasy seasons went. You wanna let us know how yours ended?
Yeah, man, it's so funny because when I last jumped on a recording, before I lost,
we were doing great.
So much time to school. You and I were not doing hot. You renamed your team shortly after that episode for sure. I had gone 0-3, I believe, to start the season at that point, and then I rattled off 8 straight wins. Just 8.
Yeah.
Now, I had Jonathan Taylor, so he started popping off. My issue this season were my wide receivers. I had taken McLaurin from Washington, which he is a very reliable.
He was good, yeah.
Very reliable. He didn't put up points, and ultimately I think it was just the quarterback issue. You know, I picked him when I thought he had Fitzpatrick, and at least Fitz has accuracy.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have taken him had I known that the quarterback would have been injured, and you never know. Then I had picked Anderson out of Chicago. Actually, I don't even remember the dude's name, and he was their top receiver. That shows you how well he did. I had picked up Julio Jones thinking, you know, he might do something with the Titans. Mm-hmm. He got his first touchdown in week 18. That didn't do me well. I had 3 phenomenal running backs, though. I had Taylor, as I mentioned. I had Najee Harris. And then I picked up the Patriots rookie Stevenson, and he started popping off, too. So I was running golden, and then I had Henderson Jr. from the Rams. He started going crazy. So, like, my flex position was a running back. That was dope. My tight end was Pitts, and he was doing really well, but it never got me points. So he'd have phenomenal catches and he would make great plays that were catching
I think he only got
pace.
one touchdown this season, too.
Yeah,
it's somewhere in the.
It wasn't like he was giving me 2 points. He was giving me a solid 6, 7. But like, you would think for the yards he was putting up and like the passes, like in the
I blame
offense,
the team he was on.
Exactly.
That's really it.
I'm
I
not
think he would have
mad.
done better on a different team, but like that's not on him.
Yeah, and then I had Pittsburgh's defense, which actually did me well, even on the weeks they weren't winning. So that was great. And then I had I had the Cowboys kicker, and I know it's Serlin, but I refuse to give him any fucking credit anymore. He missed so many that I wouldn't have expected him to miss. He is normally a reliable kicker. All that to say, I think I finished 5th, but that's because like when we got closer to the play-ins, unfortunately that's where my running back started to having to sit due to buys or because of COVID exposures.
Yeah, that COVID week, oh my God, that was, I can't believe I survived that week. I think that was like make or break for a lot of people. And it was just like, it was a disaster trying to like play the wire and like figure out my bench and, you know, like moving people to IR. It was just like, I felt like I was doing like a really tough math equation.
Yeah, and it was funny because there were some moves that I thought I had absolutely made, and then I would go back, and I guess my app was just glitching. I ended up getting a new phone in the long run. Like, I literally just got a new phone because it was time, and it was an old phone that the updates weren't always working, and Yahoo kind of was very shoddy on it, and that's on me.
Mm-hmm.
I knew better. I should have done these transactions on a computer. Just wasn't thinking about it. And oh well, I'm never going to complain. I thought I was going to finish dead last, and somehow I was really in the playoff push, and then you knew it was coming with the COVID exposures. How about you though? You did pretty well, my Titanic.
Yeah, I thought my team was, done like 4 weeks in, so I changed the name to the Titanic, and I don't know why, but I think that brought me some luck, and I just kept moving up, and I think I just snuck into the playoffs at like 5th or 6th, and then I played you, and I think that was the COVID week.
Yeah, I had to
or it was like the week before. Yeah, it was like still like it was like leftover, like people's who had gotten the tail end of that big COVID outbreak. So that was like, I just like snuck by you, and then I had to play Emma, and Antonio Brown screwed me the fuck over by running off the field because I lost by 7 points. I'm so mad because I had put him in over someone else because I was like, oh, they're playing the Jets. Like, he's definitely going to get like a touchdown or two. Like he was definitely going to get the ball was my thought process. And that's why I had put him in. And, he had to do what Antonio Brown does and fuck everything up for everyone else. So yeah, I would like to, I don't know if I'm allowed to like sue him for like, I don't even know, like, Trump pain and suffering. I think that's the route I would go. But yeah, I ended up
never going back in though. So like at least that could be kind of comforting. He was never going to go back in.
But I'm just so mad. And then like the whole thing that happened with him after, I mean, we'll probably talk about that later, but it was just a fucking shit show and, ruined my fantasy season. Yeah. But yeah, the Titanic hit its iceberg, and that was Emma.
No, it was Antonio Brown.
It was Antonio Brown. But yeah, no, big congratulations to Emma, our league's new fantasy reigning champion. Very well deserved. I mean, she beat me, so it's only right that she wins. But yeah, in my other league, I finished dead last. I lost last place by 3 points.
Oof.
3 points.
Why'd you do so bad? And I know
I don't know what happened with that team because I thought that team when I drafted was way better than the team that finished third. And I think this just proves that fantasy is at the end of the day fucking luck. It's pure luck. It's you just you pick the right player to play that week. You set the perfect lineup. Like you don't know, you truly don't know who's actually going to get the ball, who's going to make the big play. So yeah, at the end of the day, it's a contest of luck, and I got lucky in one league kind of, and I was very unlucky in the other.
Yeah. Well, the best thing about our league specifically, I'll say the best thing, but it's actually the thing that annoys me personally the most, is that it's a new season next season, and we start from scratch. And
starting fresh.
With that said, are there any of these new crop of rookies that you're like, oh, I got my eye out on you?
Well, I passed on Jamar Chase drafting my fantasy team this year because, logically I was like, he hasn't played in a year. I don't know how good he's going to be. And of course he is like the top rookie of the season. And I feel like I got cheated out of a player.
Yeah, we all make mistakes.
I am happy that him and Joe Burrow are playoff bound. Like, that warms my heart so much. I love seeing Joe Burrow doing so well.
I love that we're starting to see quarterbacks not really follow what I would think is the standard play when you get into the NFL and be quiet. Like, a lot of these younger QBs are a lot more vocal about who they want, and I think it was great to see Joe Burrow's choice, quote unquote, play out, because it was great to see him pop off with Chase. Like, it was great.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
It was so nice. It almost reminded me of when, like, Deshaun Watson and Hopkins went from playing college together to playing in the NFL together. So, like, it's just, like, really nice to see, like, those pairings continue, because college is so short. It's, like, so short-lived.
Yeah.
And, like, you can be on an NFL team for years on end.
Yeah.
So I hope that the two of them get to play together for a very long time. Like, the two of them together is just, like, magic on the field.
Yeah, it's great to see. And I know I want to ask you a little bit more about Jamar Chase's season, because I didn't really get a chance to watch a bunch of the Bengals. But before we get into that, I have to, as the stats, the math person in this grouping, I have to remind our listeners that we are going to talk about some records being broken. On my side of things, I don't think we can actually compare seasons that just happened to past seasons, because there's a whole extra game. That's a whole extra 4 quarters for you to start, catching balls or making plays. And yeah, it doesn't seem like a lot, but when someone like Antonio Brown can go put up 10 catches for 110 yards, that can move you from being at 900 yards to a 1,000-yard season. So
Yeah.
it's a massive increase at times. And I feel bad for some of the guys that made the records last season that are now just getting wiped under the rug. But on that note, I know you watched more football than me this season, and it really hurts me to have to say that.
Bit busy. That's fine. It's fine. Well, I mean, I usually watch more football than you, because I'm watching 2 different leagues, so
more of the NFL than I did.
Yes,
Normally I'll cross more games than you.
I actually watched a lot more NFL than I usually do. So I'm usually like, even this year, even more than last year, I was flipping between college football games and stuff, just because, like, I don't know why, it was on both leagues, it was a really good season. So, but yeah, Jamar Chase, he had quite the record-breaking season. His final stats for the regular season games were 81 receiving yards. Total yards was 1,455, and he had 13 touchdowns. So,
oh wow!
The records that he broke included the Bengals single-season receiving record, which had previously been held by Chad Johnson, and the NFL single-season receiving record for yards by a rookie, which was set by his former LSU teammate Justin Jefferson last season. So, I mean, he's probably going to be the one that we're comparing most of these people to in regards to stats. I mean, like, I think it's also, like, a good thing to say that, like, some of these weren't broken on the last game. So even if it was a regular season, these stats aren't necessarily far off from, like, the previous 17-game regular season stats. So it's like I understand, like, yeah, there might be some discrepancies, but at the same time, it's like, I think that one of those records was broken in, like, early January.
Yeah, and all of the records that got broken this season were ones that you wouldn't even not necessarily expected, even with the extra. Because sometimes it just seems like it's unlikely or unattainable. Sorry, my dog seems to be making some noises. I'm going to just move her outside.
Freya wants to say hello. But yeah, no, I think Jamar Chase had a phenomenal season, like, far beyond what I thought that he was going to have. And I think he's definitely, like, a solid contender for Rookie of the Year.
Oh, yeah? Really?
Yeah. I mean, we'll get into that too. We have that chat set for this episode as well. But yeah, I just wanted to put that in there. He's at the top of my list for Rookie of the Year. Like, if I were to put money on it, it'd probably be him.
Okay. Wow.
I think it's more just, like, the story.
Okay.
Like, he's off for a year. He's back with his former teammate. He brought the Bengals to their first playoff game since the 90s. So I think there's, like, a lot on his resume that, like, merits Rookie of the Year.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and it makes sense. I do know that, like, when I'd see the highlights and stuff, it was always seemingly a great catch by him.
I think it's the like the familiarity of the two of them playing together, right? It's like you don't get that chemistry unless you've been playing together for a while, and those two have been playing together for quite some time. So
yeah, and it
makes it easier.
It looks like another QB wide receiver duo seemingly had some massive success here in the NFL as well as college, with Jalen Waddle and his quarterback being Tua. So Jalen actually put up 104 receptions for 1,015 yards, but only 6 TDs. However, if you remember at the start of the season with the Miami Dolphins, they weren't really scoring much. They weren't doing too well. They were making the right plays, but not putting up the points. So I think at the end of the day, I would expect Waddle would have been able to put up a couple more TDs by any other quarterback, almost any other quarterback.
I think it took the Dolphins a little more time to find their groove than like the Bengals did. So like obviously that pairing is going to shine a bit more than Waddle and Tua, but like I'm even like quite pleasantly surprised that he had a better season than his former Alabama teammate Devontae Smith, who was on the Eagles. Like I'm pleasantly surprised with Waddle's season. I think he did really well. And I can't wait to see like what else is in store for him. Like I really think the Dolphins have nowhere to go but up. I think it's a short fall. Like I don't like it's a short fall, but I think they're on the opposite trajectory. Like they're going up.
I hope so. I do think as we'll discuss in just a little bit. I would agree with you, except for the fact that they did just fire their coach out of nowhere, and we'll cover in a couple segments why that's a huge thing. But yeah, I was kind of surprised they did that. Well, you already brought up Devontae Smith, so we might as well mention his records for this season. He put up 64 catches for 916 yards, which was a lot more than I expected when I first read 64 catches.
Yeah.
And 5 touchdowns.
Yeah,
so that's still respectable.
Respectable stats. They're not as like high as Jalen's were, but Devontae Smith's on a team that's going to the playoffs. So if you're a stat person, you're gonna look at the stats and say, Waddle's maybe the better person, but Devontae Smith is on the better team. Yeah. So it's just like I don't know. I guess it kind of evens out there when you're comparing them. It's like they're both great wide receivers. It's just like how they were utilized, and I think Waddle was utilized way better than Devontae Smith was, but Devontae Smith's team was able to get into the playoffs. Yeah,
and I think my only question would be, and I did not watch many Eagles games, I will admit to that. How high up the depth chart was Devontae Smith in comparison to Waddle? Like when I was watching Miami near the end of the season, like the last 8 games, Waddle was their number one option by far. Whereas if Smith wasn't the number one option, like if they continued to go, I want to say Aguilar, but Aguilar was on the Patriots. So right now I forget who the Eagles first.
I think they were both first.
Okay. Then maybe that's a little bit of an odd stat. Then I would have expected him to have a little bit higher, but maybe they were running the ball a little bit more or just more effective.
I want to say they were, but I'm trying to recall Eagles games in my head, and I can't.
Right? So I guess moving on to a team that we probably will say the exact same thing for, the Lions. But the one bright spot about the Lions...
Who would have thought of this?
So you have... Oh, no. How do I say his first name?
Amonra.
My apologies.
I'm not too sure. St. Brown.
My apologies with that. But he was able to put up 90 receptions, which is wild considering he was on the Lions, for 912 yards and 5 touchdowns. And I just can't believe he was playing for the Lions for that.
He's the reason they won those 2 games.
Yeah, because Goff was not throwing well whatsoever.
And when he did, it was to St. Brown. So
Yeah.
like it's nice to know that they kind of just like they have the bones there to be a not crappy team.
Yeah.
But like somehow most weeks they end up at like the bottom of the dumpster.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I have to stop her.
That's okay.
To pause.
Well,
She will
Milton
not
goes
stop.
in that loves her dog, her very needy dog. I know that she's going to be very excited to talk about Mac Jones' season, another rookie taking his team to the playoffs. I mean, I personally love seeing the Patriots lose, but I'm pretty proud of Mac Jones and what he's done there for the Patriots. I hate saying that, but it's more of a I like Mac Jones. He stepped up this year.
I'm sorry. I
He
need you to
pulled
repeat
them out
that.
of their grave.
I need
said
you
I
to
was-
repeat that very clearly for the microphone.
I am proud of Mac Jones.
Yes.
Is that what you wanted?
Yep. We're okay. We're A-okay.
I just, he was welcomed with open arms, so I think that was like a good start for him. And he had a shaky few first games, but once he found his rhythm, it was like, I hate that I liked watching him play. Can he be on another team so I can enjoy it more?
Yeah, okay. I love it. I absolutely love it.
I know you do.
Assuming he doesn't get injured doesn't get a massive injury, that's our quarterback for the next 10 years. Easily. You've just watched someone basically become, quote unquote, the next Tom Brady in the sense of running that offense the exact same way.
Yeah.
He is not the next Tom Brady in the sense of he's going to break all these records. We're going to be a dynasty for the next 20 years. No.
But he is the puzzle piece that replaces Tom Brady on the Patriots is kind of what you're getting at.
He is. So what I love so much about Belichick and what people tend to hate about him is he just goes and he plays the free agency. He can go pick up anyone and just be like, oh, no one wants to take you. They think you're old and played out. All right, you'll fit in this system, no problem. Come on in. I love that. I love when he's like, I don't care who you are, anyone can play.
I still cannot believe that he was picked 15th. Like, can we talk about how Justin Fields was picked before Mac Jones?
Yeah, but like if you remember back to the episode that we draft, I was kind of like that we discussed the draft. I was even kind of upset that we didn't get Justin Fields. Now, do I think Belichick would have used Fields better than Matt Nagy used Fields? Absolutely. I do think we have not seen the best out of Justin Fields.
Yeah.
But when my quarterback goes out and puts up a completion percentage of 67.6% for the season, which is wild, he could have broken Dak's. I do think he could have broken Dak's record. He put up 3,800 yards and 22 touchdowns.
It's a great rookie season and another solid contender for like rookie of the year.
Yeah, I hope he gets rookie of the year. It's the only time where I hope the bias towards quarterback shines through. I would like him to get the rookie of the year. He got us to the playoffs. Awesome. And even better, we face the Bills. Yes. Give me the Bills.
Like you don't have to like wait. If I were you, I would hate to have to like play the Bills in the second round. Like I would rather play them in the first round, either get it over with or get beaten by them and then just like be done with it.
Well, I mean, like the Patriots, they play them in this upcoming weekend.
Yeah.
They win, they go to the second round, they lose, they go home. It is what it is, but like this way, it's any other game. We'll get into it a little bit more later, but it's any other week. So much about their routine can stay the exact same. I'll get into why I'm explicitly happy that it's the Bills rather than like the Chiefs or rather than another kind of closer transport or closer destination. But no, I'm happy with that. But before we discuss the playoffs, I do think we should cover some of these more major season storylines that I didn't get a comment on. I know I'm itching to. I'm sure you're itching to. We did talk about Fields. I don't have much more to say about him. I don't want to make a judgment on him this season. I want to see what he's going to do with his new coach.
Yeah, I don't. There was just a lot going on with the Bears. You know, there was the whole Andy Dalton situation with like, we're going to start him and then drafting Justin Fields. And then they just kind of like flip flop between the two of them the whole season. So it's just like, I don't know about Andy Dalton, but like if I was promised to start and that was my season after that promise, do you want to stay there? Like what are the Bears going to be left with now that their coach is gone and you've been flip-flopping quarterbacks all season? That's I'm in the same boat as you. Like I don't want to judge Justin Fields or like the Bears in general on this season just because like they had so much going on internally and with their players that like they're still trying to find that like sweet spot with the team.
Yeah, honestly, that team's a little bit of a mess. And
a little bit. It's a fucking dumpster fire.
Oh, no. The team that's a dumpster fire was the Jags. And we need to discuss the Jags / Urban Meyer / T-Law debacle that was going on.
Trevor Lawrence had some good moments. I will definitely give him that. But it was not the season I was expecting coming off of like his Clemson run.
Yep.
You know, like I was expecting more of like what Joe Burrow was putting out this season because like I really don't consider Joe Burrow's actual rookie season like any, like you can't use any of it because he only played half of it. But like assuming this is how Joe Burrow would have played last year, like I really wish I would have gotten that from Trevor Lawrence. I don't know if it was part of the coach, part of being on the Jags, because like I don't necessarily think like the Jags as a whole are absolutely terrible. Again, I think just like the Bears, they had a lot going on with, you know, Urban Meyer and all the scandal that was going on around him, the team not clicking, and like there's again they're still trying to find that sweet spot, and I don't know if they'll get there next year.
Yeah. So just for our listeners, T-Law put up 3,600 yards, just over 12 TDs, and he had a completion percentage of 59.6%. So first, I want to get your opinion on the fact, was this the coach? Or
I would like to put some blame on Urban Meyer, maybe not all of it, but I think he should definitely take a portion of it.
I would give him a lot more than just a portion. I think with that amount of chaos,
like a solid 60-40, like 60% Urban Meyer, 40% everything else.
Yeah, I 100% would agree with that.
And like, you know, they're gonna get Travis Etienne back from his injury, and they're gonna have a new coach next season, and they also have the first pick in the draft. So
who are they going for? What are they going for?
I don't know. Like, I don't like the first pick in the draft is the defensive end from Michigan, Adrian.
Yep.
Something. It starts with an H. I can't remember. But yeah, and you know, he was a Heisman Trophy finalist. He is an amazing defensive end. He is like probably one of the reasons Michigan made it into the playoffs is because of him, which is surprising for like to say about a defensive player. But like the first 5 top picks that are predicted are all, I think 4 of them are defensive players and one of them's a offensive lineman. So I haven't really looked into like what the Jags are looking for. Like who knows what they might go for. I feel like it would be a defensive player considering they've picked up 2 offensive players in the draft. Like I think if anything they might go for that top 5 lineman just to give Trevor Lawrence a bit more protection. That would probably be my best guess at this point. I just like, you know, like after the season, like after the regular season weekend had ended, the Jags were it was decided that the Jags are going to have the first pick again. So
yeah,
We'll
I
see.
see them doing that defensive end if I'm being honest, because
You'd be dumb not to take Adrian. You would be dumb.
especially after
He's
we
so
just
good.
watched Mika Parsons play for he plays for the Cowboys. Wow.
So good.
And
I hate that I'm saying that about a Cowboys player.
as much as I hate to agree with you,
Another
Once
solid
it-
rookie player of the year contender.
yeah, once it clicked for him, once he started feeling where he was supposed to be in his position with that new team, he started lighting it up. And he is the reason the boys kind of have any semblance of a return to glory from the defensive side. Of course, Dak and everyone did their job.
The Cowboys actually have a decent offense and a decent defense this year. One that is not you don't I did not make fun of the Cowboys nearly as much as I have in others.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't have put money on it. However, once I saw him start playing, he almost is, if you think about JJ Watt during his prime before all these major injuries, when JJ is playing, he's a difference maker. When you think about Aaron Donald, another difference maker. Yes, the Patriots were able to show you can kind of negate these difference makers, but there's only so many coaches that can actually do that in this league. Your coach, Mr. Andy Reid, can absolutely do it. Of course, Bruce Arians. I would say any of the teams that you're used to hearing as a lay or a normal football fan, not an obsessive one, you can basically be like, oh yeah, their coach can do it, whereas a lot of others can't. So these difference makers matter so much on the defensive side in the regular season. And then once you get them through the regular season, the road to the playoffs is insane. And
defenses win championships, and that's
as boring as it is, I will take that Rams Patriots Super Bowl over any other Super Bowl I've watched the Patriots win.
Right? Even last night's national championship was on Tuesday, but so the game that happened on Monday, it didn't really pick up till the fourth quarter. The first 5 points were all field goal kicks. So it's just it just goes to show you how good those defenses are, and in college football, especially good defenses are hard to come by and they're hard to keep because of how quickly things turn over there. So it just goes to show you that if you don't have a good defense, you're not getting anywhere. Yeah, it could be a fun game, it'll be a high scoring game, but you're gonna keep it close the whole time. That's nerve wracking. Nobody wants. I mean, I do want to watch that, but as a fan of that team, nobody wants to watch your team go neck and neck, touchdown for touchdown, all the way until the end.
Yeah, especially when you can't stop the other team.
You want some reassurance. Yeah, because it's just any time Alabama got into the red zone last night, I was actually confident that Georgia could stop them. It got down to the third down stop, and I was like no problem. They're 5 yards away from the end zone, and they will stop them, and they did almost every time.
Yeah. Yeah, I was the same way for the Rams Patriots Super Bowl. You were texting me and you're like, "Oh, this is boring." I was like, "It's boring, but I'm happy." This is great. This is what I wanted because I trusted the defense. And it's just a difference maker. So all that to say, I truly believe the Jags will go there. I think they have a great offensive setup thus far. I think obviously they're going to get a new head coach. Granted, the rumor is it's going to be Bill O'Brien, who used to coach the Texans and then went to Alabama as their offensive coordinator. I think it's a mistake.
Okay.
But that's the current rumor is you're going to see Bill O'Brien.
I don't know why you would want to bring another college football coach
because
into the NFL when you
right. So he has a ton of experience.
What did he do last?
He was so last year he was the offensive coordinator for Alabama. The year before he was the head coach of the Houston Texans and the general manager. So he has a giant resume. A questionable
where
one.
I was going with that, yeah, exactly. It's questionable, because where I was going with it is that you just had Urban Meyer come from college to the NFL and fizzle out. So are you really going to take that risk again on another? I know he has experience in the NFL, but you're risking again on a college coach.
For
And it's not
sure.
even it's not even a head coach.
So
It's an offensive coordinator that you want to move up to NFL head coach. And like I know, like you said, like he's been there before with a different team, but I don't know. It just feels like they're making the wrong moves all over again.
See, I think it's the right move, except for with the
Okay.
wrong past head coach, if that makes sense. So
Okay.
it's like,
Yes.
I don't like that it's Bill O'Brien because he made some really, really dumb moves as a general manager 2 years ago, where he literally let Hopkins go for nothing. Like D-Hop's, he traded him, but he traded him for
Dummy.
like nothing, right? For David Johnson as a running back. So like he's made really questionable moves as a GM. So I think it's the wrong one. But the league on a whole is definitely moving towards that more aerial, high octane college offense. So I get going with an offensive coordinator that just worked in college to bring that in. You already are ahead. You've already had that experience as a head coach in the NFL, so you're not going to be overwhelmed with, the day-to-day, the monotony of it. You actually did all right. Like he did get them to the playoffs throughout his tenure. So he has experience in the playoffs. He knows how to deal with those young guys. He has his system, but he also knows that his system isn't perfect. Therefore, you would have thought he has spent the last little time rejigging the thing. I don't like it for my own reasons, in the sense that I just don't think he was a smart GM, and I don't think he made the smartest of calls. But he is an NFL coach. I will say it shocked me when he went to Alabama over taking a different NFL coaching job. He did say he wanted to go and work some things out in terms of offense.
So maybe he did that at Alabama under Nick Saban's guidance. I
And
mean,
who
like,
else to do it under?
yeah, like thinking, putting all of that into perspective, like I understand now. Like, yeah, okay, maybe this isn't the worst move for them, but it's just like it just sounds like the same story, and that's what
Here we
worried
go
me
again.
was that like exactly. It's like, all right, let's do it. Like try again. We'll see.
Yeah, 10-4. I agree with that one. So I know you wanted to discuss Sean McVay and the Rams. What did I miss there? Because it didn't seem like there was a lot going on there at points.
I don't know, just like pleasantly surprised with like the team that he's put together. Now they have Stafford, they have what's his name? OBJ is getting the ball now.
That was wild this season.
You had Cooper Kupp put up one of his best seasons as a wide receiver. If you told me that was going to happen before the season started, I wouldn't have believed you. Like I've had him on my fantasy team years before, and he did nothing for me. And then all of a sudden, this feels like he kind of came out of nowhere, and just like really showed up for like it just like the Rams as a whole. Like I think the Rams have found their sweet spot. Like we've been talking about these teams that haven't found it yet. Like the Rams found it. They have the coach. They have the team.
Quarterback,
and
for sure.
that quarterback, like that coach is so supportive too. Oh my gosh, like seeing him like praise his teammates on the sidelines after they've done something good. It's just like, it's so nice to see like not a coach yelling at someone.
Yep.
But yeah, I just, a little shout out to the Rams because it just kind of felt like surprising this year.
Yeah.
They're fun to watch.
Yeah. It was funny because when I saw you write this down, I was like, oh, are we going one of two ways with this? Because I kind of expected a better season from them because of the Stafford trade. Like, I thought a lot of the problems had to do with Jared Goff. Unfortunately, I just didn't really think he was a great quarterback, which he's not. We're
No,
seeing
because
that
if he
with the
was a great
Lions.
quarterback, he wouldn't be doing as bad on the Lions.
Yeah. However, I'm just like, did I expect them to go 12-5 and have confidence in them going into the playoffs? And I don't know if I thought it was going to be that good. I knew Stafford was that good. Like
I'm just like happy he got his time to shine too. Like you
so
really
glad.
got to see how good he is, and like I think that they just like used him so well this year.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see what they're going to do in the next couple of years. Like, imagine what McVay is going to be able to do with Stafford in 2 years from now with the way McVay's offense, if mine just kind of works. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild.
He's a really good coach, and I think like the Rams in the next few years definitely be one to watch out for.
Yeah, I agree with you there to a point. When we say the next ones to watch out for, I mean they were in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Like it wasn't that long ago. Yeah, I think it was 3 years ago.
Yeah, and then 3 years ago. Sorry.
It wasn't that long ago. They got rid of the quarterback, which seemed to be part of the problem.
Yeah.
Mcvay is bringing in all of these people, and like people want to go play at the Rams now. It's almost like the Tom Brady effect. People want to go play with Tom Brady. Like people want to go play with Sean McVay. Like they want him to be their coach. So like that's like the Rams have a pull now.
Yeah, I'm really happy to see that the McVay way though of coaching is starting to spread around the NFL, because I can't tell you how many times I've pulled up clips from the NFL over the last couple weeks, really trying to catch up on some of the things I missed. And so many of the coaches are actually speaking to these players as human beings as opposed to being paychecks and just little chess pieces. Like I saw one where it was for Kyler Murray, and I couldn't tell if it was Kingsbury or if it was his quarterback coach instead. But it was, hey, you get so hard on yourself for missing a hard throw, but then you come out and make this massive throw, the one that we really needed. And that's what I want you to focus on. I trust you to make those throws, even if you've gone 0 for 9. I will give you that ball for throw number 10. So no, nothing you can do is going to shake my confidence and trust in you. And I was like, I don't even think I ever heard people say that to like Brady or to Big Ben or to...
No, you got Tom Brady freaking smashing tablets on the sideline. No, nobody trying to comfort him.
No, but like even I'm thinking more back when he was a younger quarterback. Like, Belichick did obviously treat him differently when he was younger. You've seen it with Mac right now, with Belichick laughing on the sidelines. Like people forget that's how Belichick was with Tom Brady in the beginning. Yeah, he was a little more rigid. There was less laughter on the side, but he was motivating him. He trusted Tom to take them to the playoffs and all of that. But like, it feels so gentle in the best way possible now. It's not demeaning to these players, these men, but it's also not, hey, you suck, get the fuck out there, suck it up. Like,
yeah, it's not. It's you can really see that like they've moved on from this tough love era, and it's like, wow, positive encouragement actually works. Like my players won't want to leave my team if I do this. Wow.
Shocking.
And it's, I know, right? Like, gee, it actually works. But it's definitely nice to see that, like, like you said, the coaches aren't looking at them as like a paycheck or like a piece, like a piece in the game or like a chess piece kind of thing. So I don't know. It's really nice to see. And I'm just, go Rams. Well, not really though, because they're my...
Yeah. They're not
go Rams, but go Rams.
Well, go Rams until they face your team.
There we go. That's it. There we go.
Because like I'm the same way. Obviously, my ideal Super Bowl, and it's not going to happen. I don't think it will happen this year. Would be the vibe Patriots is very Bucks.
Okay, yeah.
That would be my absolute ideal, and obviously I'd be going for the Patriots. But until then, I'm a Bucks. Like I'm going Bucks on one side and Patriots on the other.
But yeah, it's very the vibe is like just a little, go little rock star.
Oh God,
just like
that's the best vibe too.
Rock star. Yeah.
There.
That's just that's the vibe I have for the Rams and like a few other teams. Like I mean, we could hop into the Cardinals with that too, because I was very go little rock star at the beginning of the season for the Cardinals. I was really excited with what they did in the off season, all the players that they acquired, the team they've built, and I don't know. I was definitely expecting them to do better than 11-6. So like, I don't know how. Like at the beginning of the season, you could probably catch me saying that like I would put money on them being in the Super Bowl. Now, like I feel like they would be lucky to get past the wild card round,
even with JJ Watt back.
But yeah, that was before I knew he was coming back. Now, like obviously, definitely more confidence in the Cardinals. I don't know if I have enough confidence for them to go to the Super Bowl this year. But I think they'll they're, even if they don't make it to the Super Bowl this year, even if they don't make it to the conference championship, like I'm very proud of the season that they put out this year with the players that they've acquired.
Yeah.
And I do think that a Super Bowl appearance is in their near future, like in the next few years. So if not this year.
It's so funny because it's like I could see them go to the Super Bowl this year, but two things had to happen. And I don't think they could beat the Packers in Lambeau. I don't think that's feasible for
Did they?
the Cardinals.
They didn't win the regular season game against them, did they?
I don't think so.
I
but
can't remember. I don't think they did.
I think had the Packers have to, like, if Green Bay had to go to Arizona, like to the Cardinals, I would trust that. I would think the Cardinals could actually win that game. I don't like that they have to go to Lambeau because that's miserable to play in the winter with their crowds. Like,
they're not used to it.
I don't see it.
Yeah.
So I would
It's
say
not the story. It's
the Packers would have to lose. And I don't think that's feasible then based off of how the playoffs are set up. So unfortunately.
And speaking of the Packers, more specifically Aaron Rodgers, do you think this is his last season? Do you think
No.
You think he's going to move on to a different team?
I think he's being an asshole, first off. Just in general, I think he is being an asshole. He's decided that this COVID...
Sorry, do you think that, like, everything that's happened with, like, him and, like, the COVID vaccine and, like, his, like, immunization protocol will, like, have an effect on, like, who trades him?
No.
You don't think they'll care?
In the same way that I think if a team could pick up Deshaun Watson this moment for a playoff run, you bet your ass Deshaun Watson starting that playoff run. At the end of the day, the NFL owners care about two things. It's their money first and foremost, and Super Bowls. That's it. That's all they care about. They have demonstrated they don't have integrity when it comes to caring who's on their roster. And I think that is across the board. So I'm not saying that, like, the Patriots are perfect, because they aren't. They had Hernandez. Then your team, obviously not perfect. There's so many teams that a Super Bowl trumps player character as much as they keep saying player character should trump it. It's player character only trumps if your play isn't the best, the absolute best. All that to say, absolutely Aaron Rodgers will be in another team. I think the only way he wouldn't is if you cannot play games based off of your vaccination status.
Yeah.
So I don't think
he'd
you go
be
out
done.
and get vaxxed for it. I think he's really dug in on this BS that he is just somehow consumed.
I am somehow think Joe Rogan.
Yeah, when Joe Rogan's the doctor you're going to talk to, kindly shut the F up and maybe talk to some actual experts. I'm over this bullshit at this point in the pandemic. If you don't know by now some of the ways we can protect ourselves against COVID, I don't even care. I don't care. I don't want to hear your Google research.
Yeah, no, it's I think he definitely crossed a line this season with all that vaccine scandal bullshit, and I just, like, I lost so much respect for him for, like, him trying to, like, fight it and say that, like, he should be considered a vaccinated player. And, like, on top of that, like, yes, he had a more or less good season, but, like, also maybe his most memeable season.
Yeah.
Like, I just, it was a weird season for Aaron Rodgers, yet somehow he's still being considered for MVP. So I don't know if they would give it back to him. So
yeah, it sucks. So I was, like, starting to become a fan of him because I do watch a lot of the Pat McCaffrey show, and he does a weekly segment on there, and he was extremely personable, and he came across a lot less as an asshole.
No doubt he's a great guy to talk to. Like, I'm sure he's a nice person. He thinks he's the
smartest person in the room, and that's what bugs me. He thinks he's the smartest person in the room, and it's like, no, you're not. Not when it comes to the health side, right? It's like, yes,
Yeah.
he is the smartest football player in that room. Of course he is. He has been a quarterback in the league for 20 some years, or less than that. But he's been a quarterback in the league for so long. Of course he is the smartest person in the room when it comes to football. But I'm sorry, you're, 15 years on the field has nothing compared to my 12 years in a lab.
Yeah.
But I don't think I can do your job. Like, I don't think I can go on the football field. So
Yeah, I know, exactly. Like, we can't do what he does, and he can't do what you do. So, and I think, like, yeah, he can't recognize that. And I think that's what pissed a lot of people off.
But I do think his season is MVP quality. I do think he's put up the numbers, and I do think he warrants the MVP nod. What I have a problem with is that you've had a couple voters come out and explicitly state that they're not going to vote for him because of his because of the vax status. And it's like, I get that the MVP has to be, like, a part of it is being ready and available to your team, and he is not, because at any point he could have a positive COVID test and then he's not available, and he has been in COVID.
That happened when they faced the Chiefs. He had to sit out 2 weeks.
Yeah, and so it's like, I get you can go on that angle, but you coming out and saying that just as a voter just makes you seem biased, and I don't think you should have your vote anymore. Yes, I wouldn't vote for Aaron Rodgers.
You can't let Brady. That, like, political part of the game, like, because, like, his vaccine status has no merit on his skill. No,
and that's where I was having the issue, and I think anyone who has vocally said they would not vote for him because of that,
like, he shouldn't be punished for his skill because of his vaccine status.
Yeah,
that I can get on board with. I still think he is stupid. I think that, yes, like you said, like, he deserves the nod.
Yeah. And then,
without that retribution, like, without that, like, lashback about, like, the political side.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, speaking of other players that can really light a fire under our asses, tell me about Antonio Brown.
Fuck Antonio Brown. Jesus fucking, that man, I swear to God, he is the bane of my existence. He ruined my fantasy season. I don't even know why I drafted him in the first place, honestly.
Because he does put up, like, yards when he plays.
Like, every time I see a photo of him now, I, like, want to my photo room. Like, I really do think I have grounds to sue him.
Okay, I think you should try and sue him. I want to hear all about that. And when he, quote unquote, exposes you like he did AG and what else? I feel so bad for him.
Everything he said about Tom Brady too. Oh my God. It's just like,
I love that though.
I know, like, we had talked about it in, like, our group chats, and, like, maybe more serious note, like, I do think he does, like, that CTE condition. Yeah. Did I say that right?
Yep.
Is that the right acronym?
It's CTE, so it's chronic traumatic encephalopathy.
I just, like, I can't believe that that's not something that you can diagnose. I understand why once you explained it to me, but, like, it's crazy to think that, like, you don't know until they're dead.
Yeah.
And that's the really shitty part about this.
Yeah, and so for our listeners, basically what we're referring to is, if you didn't see Antonio Brown's giant kind of walk off the field while they were playing the Jets, that has now subsequently resulted in his release and quite a bit of shots fired by Antonio Brown towards the Bucs organization. It's very erratic behavior from him. So I don't even remember the season, but it feels not long ago. Brown,
I think it was 3 seasons. It was right before COVID hit that he started, like, fucking off with the Steelers.
Yeah, so it was a little longer than that, because he went to the Raiders, then he went to the Patriots, then he went to...
Yeah, that was all in one season.
Yeah, that was 2019?
No, 2019. I'm pretty sure he was still on the Steelers before COVID, and that's when he was, like, causing all the problems there, throwing tantrums. And then the 2020 season, he was on the Raiders, the Pats. He bounced around, then he was dropped. And then for the 2021 season, because this is his first season playing with...
Second season.
No.
Yeah,
It's his
so
second
I was
season.
right. I did look
So
it
you're
up.
right.
So
It
he
was
stopped
the one
playing with the
before.
Steelers in 2018. But
Yeah.
it was about, it was a season before that, I believe. This is a little bit rough, but ultimately Brown sustained one of the nastiest and most vicious hits to the head I have seen in my time live. Like this Bengal player called Perfect, he was known for targeting a player. Like he was known as the targeting player. So he would be the one that would go
He would have
and
been
intentionally.
DQ'd
Yeah.
from every single college game.
Yeah,
Had this man-
he essentially is the reason we have targeting penalties in the NFL. He was very dirty, but he was a good player at times too. So
Yeah.
he was on the Bengals forever. But ever since that hit, Brown has never been the same mentally. He since then has started acting extremely erratic, extremely bipolar at times.
And it's like you can tell just from like this incident with the running off, throwing the tantrum, running and jumping and skipping off the field, and then turning the blame on the coach, saying that he was injured. And it's like, buddy, you did not look injured running off that field. And then he has all of his side come out, and then the coach puts his side out, and you're like, oh my God, what is happening? Like, the coach is saying that he's basically just like what we all thought he threw it to field.
Yeah, but it's interesting to note, Brown has proven his side correct. So at the end of the
He
day,
has?
I will
Didn't know that.
I will defend Brown in this one. Because
So he was actually injured. We just
at the
don't
end
know
of the
if
day,
that was the actual conversation they had on the field.
No, text messages are out. On the field, yeah, we don't know what happened on the field, which is wild because it's so mic'd up. But yeah, to get back to it, because of that hit, we can assume that Brown has had CTE since that incident, but we'll never be able to diagnose it. There is no diagnostic protocol out there currently, and it's so hard to try and create
it's
one.
hard to cut your brain in half when you're alive. So
yeah, and the problem with trying to create a protocol now is if we go and cut someone's brain, we can identify the structure that's been injured. So is there just an area of the brain that has a larger hole in it than it's supposed to? We can't then ask the person, okay, if we fill this gap, what's your personality like? So we just don't know. So we can't tell what's missing based off of what's gone, unfortunately. Yeah. So that's going to be a really hard one that we can diagnose, that we'll be able to hopefully start diagnosing. But for the Bucs thing, what happened is he had notified the coach about his ankle being injured, and he had already been on the injury report for the 3 games prior to his 3-game suspension for that same ankle injury. So there's no way that the Bucs can claim they didn't know about his injury or the severity. There's now proof that he did speak with Bruce Arians at the start of the game. He did say he was good to go, but his foot was injured. So yeah, the only missing piece, good to go. It's on him. And then he did tell the coach at halftime that he was no longer good to go. Now, what I think people are missing, because at the same time, you have information coming out that he was starting to bitch about targets and bonuses, and that he asked the Bucs to guarantee his bonuses when he was 3 catches away and I think 5 yards. And in my mind, I'm actually like, oh, he knew he was injured bad and that he was not staying on this field long enough to make his bonuses. Because why are you asking for them to guarantee 2 weeks after you put up 110 yards on 10 catches, a week after you put up 90 yards on, like, I think it was 4 catches. It was
this doesn't add
up.
Like,
he didn't think he could play anymore. He thought his season was done.
Yeah.
Not excusing his actions. Obviously, a ton of adrenaline, so he can do jumping jacks and he can jump on it. That's fine.
Is anyone going to pick him up after all of this, though? Because it's
I don't know.
I personally wouldn't want to have to I understand he's still a good player, but I wouldn't have to want to deal with all of his antics.
Yeah. Do you?
I wouldn't want to have to worry about that.
I don't know, but
you don't want that kind of culture around your team. You know what I mean?
I agree.
He stirs the pot everywhere he goes since that hit.
Yeah, and if someone like Tom Brady or the Patriots, who are known for dealing with these trouble cases, right? Like this is the type of project, quote unquote, that the Patriots would bring in, right? Like this is textbook what we would do on from our organization standpoint. So I'm like, he'll never come back to the Patriots. He's too erratic. But then it's like, when he plays, so when he's on the field and focused on the field, he's the best receiver in this league. His route running, unfortunately,
there's no doubt he is a great player. It's everything that happens off the field with him, or I guess on the sidelines of the field that happen with him, that makes him a problem for every team.
I agree. And that's why I'm like, if this hadn't happened on the sideline, if he hadn't quit on a game, now he was already done for the, so it's like, he didn't actually quit on his teammates, but he walked off the field. Like, if he hadn't done that per se in that manner, I would say absolutely, there's no question. I could see the Chiefs offering him anytime before a playoff run. Yeah,
you know, if he had just chilled on the sidelines, I think he'd have like more of a chance of a continued career.
Yeah.
But now I just think I feel like he's just going to float in the free agency for a while until it's gotten to the point where it's like he's been out of practice too long, or he just hasn't played in so long that like just nobody has interest in him. And it's just like, I'd hate to see him fizzle out like this. It's just so frustrating.
I do think he'll get more chances, because if we look at Josh Gordon, who isn't always available to his team either.
He's gotten so many chances.
Yeah, and it's like, there are these caliber of wide receivers that seemingly can almost do anything, but because they can literally create separation like no one's business, we're talking 5-yard separation easy, they're always open. Therefore, someone's going to take a chance on them.
Someone will.
Like, I'm surprised
there's going to be a team desperate enough.
Like, I am honestly surprised the Packers, because of how the Browns were, or how Brown was released. He is eligible to play on another team during the playoffs.
And also, like, it wouldn't be bad to take him because what's his name on the Packers said that he would leave with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Devontae Adams. Yeah. He has said he would leave.
Yeah,
he's like, when Rodgers is done, I'm done, and he's gonna go to a different team too. Like, we know that they're both leaving the Packers this year
or after the season. Last run. This is their last run. Bring in Brown, even if he's just a diversion. You have to put at least one defender on Brown. You're not gonna leave Brown unmarked. I don't care how injured he is. You don't think Antonio Brown can suck it up for 4 quarters to run 5 yards and pivot in, catch the ball, and go down? Yeah. I would pick him up if I were the Packers, even with this.
Because like, you already have the fucking Aaron Rodgers escapades in the media. Like, what's Antonio Brown on top of it? So that's all I have to say about him.
No, for sure. And I think we should start talking about the road to the Super Bowl, because I did mention it was coming up to the fact that through the NFC, you have to go through Lambeau. You have to go through the Packers home.
Packers have number 1 seed, bye week. They got the home field advantage.
Yeah. As of right now, all roads to the Super Bowl go through Tennessee Titans and Green Bay Packers. And oh boy, at the start of the season, if this is how you told me it was going to end, specifically in the AFC, not a chance. I couldn't have predicted this. So we have Titans get the bye. Then you have Raiders versus the Bengals, Patriots versus the Bills, and Steelers versus the Chiefs.
I just have to say, I am surprised at everything you just said there. Like the Titans have the number 1 seed. The Raiders are in the playoffs. Like, they made it to a postseason. The Bengals are in a postseason. Also, not only did I, at the beginning of the season, not think that the Chiefs would probably be here, but the fact that we get to play the Steelers in the first round, it just kind of feels like a gift for how the season started out, in my opinion. It's just kind of like,
I'm gonna laugh if you
sorry,
guys
it was so rough. hear the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I'm going to laugh so hard if you lose to Big Ben.
Fuck, man, me too.
I will mock you relentlessly. I do not trust the Chiefs defense, but I also don't think Big Ben can throw a ball far. So.
No. And I won't hear the end of it from Rafaela either.
Or me.
Or you, or anyone, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. If the Chiefs lose to the Steelers, you're not going to hear the end of it for a bit, because by all means, like, all metrics, it should be not a gimme, because Big Ben and the Steelers just have this annoying ability to stick around in playoff games at times. Yeah, like when it was Patriots Steelers, it was always like, oh, we should win this, but
like, can we talk about how like a 7-9-1 team is in the playoffs?
Yeah, no, that's just tells you how close the AFC really is in the long run, because like, there were teams that may have gotten in that shouldn't have gotten in, but it literally came down, like the AFC wildcard weekend literally came down to a field goal.
Like the Sunday night game overtime field goal left. In which like the entire scenario here was that the Raiders were playing the Chargers Sunday night. If that game ended in a tie, they would both go to the playoffs and the Steelers would have been knocked out. But that would have meant that the Raiders played the Chiefs. Yeah. And in that moment where the Chargers, I don't know if this is true or if this is just kind of like a joke that's been going around, but it has been said that because the Chargers pulled the last minute timeout to ice the kicker, that, or I don't know if it was an ice the kicker. Okay. They just called the timeout before the last thing of the play, the last play of the game.
It's not even that timeout that
which timeout was it? I fell asleep, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, so basically what happened was you had a run play happen at half field. So out of field goal range, the Raiders ran the ball, and they got it to a 3rd and 4th out of position, so out of field goal range, and they put on their best, so they called a timeout there to put on their best players to guard against the rush, which was inevitably going to happen because Taylor, who is the Raiders running back, had been doing a good job. And if he got to the 4 yards, there was no chance that the Chargers were going to get the ball back. So they were trying to win the game. However, what's interesting is at the end of that play specifically, there was 0-0 rush by the Raiders.
Yeah, didn't it look like they were like running? It looked like they were going to run out the clock.
Run.
Yeah,
they were going to let it run. And even at the very end of the game, Derek Carr got asked, and he said, "Absolutely, absolutely." So any of the
so it is true that they were going to tie the game.
People are saying that that's all bullshit, and like no team would ever actually tie a game. But when you have Derek Carr say, yes, they were going to. But it was just their appearance on the field after that play. There was 0 rush to the line. Like if you've watched a 2-minute drill, I know you have, Chelsea, but in general, the listeners, any 2-minute drill is done at like fucking high speed.
Yeah. But
urgency.
why I bring up the the part of the reason I heard that they didn't let it tie was because if they didn't let it tie, they get to face the Bengals bullshit. As opposed to the Chiefs. And like, I mean, I'm sure everyone. That's not a reason. Yes, exactly. Because like they were probably going to have the likelihood of them facing the Bengals or the Chiefs, like it both in the playoff season was like very likely. I think they just, were looking at extending their season 1 game longer. But
I hate that narrative because
I hate that I have to watch Big Ben in the playoffs and not Justin Herbert. That's what upset me the most.
But wasn't it nice? And I don't necessarily like Big Ben or the Steelers by any means.
I'm so happy he's retiring.
But wasn't it nice to finally watch a coach just point at his quarterback and say, "You take us home." Right? So I don't know if you watched that last Steelers game where he was at
the home game.
Yeah, but where it was 4th and 7, and it was to keep. No, it was like week 18. It was 4th and 7. It was to keep the season alive. Yeah, And you just saw Tomlinson point at his quarterback and be like, you take us home. There was no need to go for it at 4th and 7. There was no need to put it in his hands or anything. They were going to get the ball back and they still had a chance. So I thought it was a little early, but it was so refreshing to finally see a coach understand the magnitude of the moment, not be selfish and say, well, this is for the team or anything, and kind of wave off Ben and all of that. It was, oh, okay. You knew the moment. You knew what was happening. You knew he was going to be leaving. And you're like, okay, if this is our season, we're giving it to our guy who's given us 18 seasons. And I was like, that's so refreshing to see. And I really wish it would happen more.
As much as I say I hate Big Ben, like, it was really nice to see, like, the week 17, his last Steelers home game.
That was sad.
Everyone chanting his name. Like, you're a franchise quarterback when that's been there for years on end. And so it was just like, you know, you definitely feel like, as much as I hate him, like, I definitely felt like more so fans than like for Big Ben himself. But like, like, it was a very sentimental moment. And I'm really happy that, like, he got to, you know, take the knee in Pittsburgh and then seal the season away. It's a nice ending. It really doesn't matter what happens for him from here on out because they're probably going to lose the Chiefs.
I don't know. Your defense is sus.
Shut up.
Your defense is sus, and all you have to do is extend drives. The Patriots showed you.
I'm not ready to talk about it yet, okay?
I'm sorry. I think the Titans are coming out of this, unfortunately. I don't think it's either of our teams.
I think I would have to say that too. I think if I'm gonna maybe just a prediction for the wild card weekend, I think I'd have to give it Bengals, Chiefs, and
this one's hard because you have Belichick going into Buffalo and fucking with them.
That's what I'm saying.
Buffalo's a better team. Like, I'm putting Patriots because they're my team, but I'm right there with you because objectively, I really the Bills.
Like, part of me wants to say the Bills, part of me wants to say the Patriots. Like, this game could truly go either way. I personally don't care which one of you wins because I don't want to play either of them in the next round.
You want the Bills. In the long run, I'd want the Bills as a Chiefs fan because, yes, the Bills now have experience.
We can get there.
You guys have the same offense. And at the end of the day, who am I going to focus on more? I'm going to give it to Mahomes over Allen. Allen's a great player.
Looking at this picture, at the end of the day, like, you know, putting my biases aside and, like, the part of me that doesn't want to see the Chiefs there for a third time to give me a heart attack, I think I'd have to say, like, out of the AFC, I think the Titans do have the best chance of making it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, especially with Derrick Henry returning from a broken foot. I didn't think he was coming back. That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know what magic Space Jam special juice he was drinking.
I want it.
But, right? Yeah, exactly.
I want it. I think for me, I would almost agree with your picks. I do think Bengals should have no problem with the Raiders. It was great to see the Raiders make it, but I think Chase and Burrow are going to be just too much to handle. I think the Patriots are going to take out the Bills. I really like that matchup because at the end of the day, the Bills still, all they remember is the fact that the Patriots have been dominating them for the last 20 years.
Yeah, like, I think the Bills are going to be spooked, but I still think it's going to be a good game. Like, I think it's going to be a close one. That's maybe why I can't say one or the other right now.
I just wanted the Bills because you can keep Mac Jones.
I do want to
say the same. You can tell him it's the only. Yeah, go for the Bills. Do it. Let's compete. I'll go for the Steelers. I think. I think it's going to be a lot closer than you think it is because you don't. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. Like, you do not have a good defense. And
I'm not denying it. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I do think the Chiefs. If you win? I don't know. We have the highest seed, so we'd play the lower seed. So it'd be the winner of Raiders Bengals, wouldn't it?
No, it would come to this is where it gets messy because it could be the Patriots.
This is where the seeding gets funny.
Win, they're the 6th seed, but if the Raiders win, they're the 7th seed.
Yeah,
and so the Steelers.
So we would play the winner of Raiders, Bengals, I'm pretty sure.
No, you're going to play whoever is the higher seed remaining.
Yeah. I don't.
Yeah.
It's I will find out next weekend.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm like, you almost want the Bills to win if there's going to be an upset in the Raiders game.
Yeah, I think
the Bengals win, you want the Patriots.
I'd rather the Bengals play the Titans and us play the Bills. Because then it would
Bengals
be
in third. No,
I don't know. I'm just telling you what I want.
3v6. So no, that's feasible.
Yeah.
No, because initially I was like, aren't the Bengals third? Therefore, it would be impossible for you to play the Bengals first. Yeah, I'd love to see I would love to see what Burrow could do to your defense.
I would love to see the AFC final either be Titans Bengals or Titans Chiefs. I don't think that's going to happen, but that's what I would want.
Yeah, right now I have to actually put in my bets tomorrow. Tomorrow? No, I have to do it by Thursday. I have to do it by the end of Thursday. So
okay, you got some time.
I do have time, and I keep flip-flopping because I want to say the Patriots are going to do a lot more than anyone thinks they're going to. But at the end of the day, he's still a rookie QB who is phenomenally accurate, though.
Yeah. Wouldn't you love to see a rookie quarterback go to the conference finals? And there are two teams here that could potentially do that on the AFC side. So
yeah, but right now I'm trying to think how well my coach can outcoach. Because so in the Bills Patriots game, I will absolutely say the Bills are the better team. The Patriots have the better defense and definitely the better coach. Our offense isn't necessarily sus. It's more you're close. It's one where I'm like, I don't want to bet my playoff run on a last minute drive like I would with Tom Brady at any moment.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be bored and get the same old. So I think we're going to see Chiefs in the conference finals. We might see a shock with Titans actually making it and not losing because number ones over like the number one seeds tend to lose every so often. You'll have that, but I could see Chiefs Titans in that AFC conference. I'm hoping for Patriots anyone. I don't really care if the Patriots make the conference, I'm good. So I don't care who they face if they manage to get to the championship. Mm-hmm. So the NFC, as I've mentioned, obviously goes through the Packers. Fuck the Pack. Then you have Eagles versus the Buccaneers. 49ers versus the Cowboys, which I can't wait for. And the Cardinals versus the Rams.
I think all of these games are gonna. Well, I lied. I think 2 of the 3 of these games are gonna be really good, and then I think the Buccaneers are going to destroy the Eagles.
Really? I think the Bucs are trending downwards, though.
I know they're trending downwards, but I think that like going into the playoffs, knowing you're playing the Eagles, I think this is a confidence boost. Like I think that if the Bucs win this and they win this by a lot, that is the fire under their ass that they will need to get them to the conference championship.
Yeah.
Because if the Bucs can beat the Eagles, I think that they could beat whoever else they have to face up until the Packers.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you there. I actually think they would beat the Packers too. Like, I just don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to make a Super Bowl because every season I watch him ball out, he loses in the playoffs. Like, he has this just uncanny ability to lose in the conference championship. And unfortunately, that's his...
sucks. I would love to see...
Yeah.
Well, I mean, besides everything that happened, like, outside of football with him this year, I would love to see him bring, like, the trophy home for the Packers in his last season there while Devontae Adams is still there. It'd just be like a nice way to leave. But then I feel like it'll make it harder for him to leave. Like, I don't know if maybe that'll change his mind about retiring if he wins.
Yeah.
I feel like if he loses, that there is like as much as I want to see him, I just said I really want to see him bring it home. Like I also want them get pissed off and leave and like absolutely dominate somewhere else.
Yeah. I agree with you there. I'm obviously gonna go Bucks will take out the Eagles.
Yeah.
Cowboys are gonna take out the Niners. I don't unfortunately, but I just can't trust Jimmy G to take out the Cowboys.
Do the Cowboys then play the Packers if they win that game? If so, then I don't think they're going any further.
No, I think Cowboys win once and then they're out. They'll win one and gone. I think. Is JJ full health? If JJ's full health, Cardinals win.
Too sure.
No, and it's gonna be. There's no way for us to know. It will be. I'll be able to tell on the first couple plays because I know his injury and I'm literally working on muscles right now. So it's like I know the labral tear and I know it's common treatment and what's gonna happen. Yeah. So I can tell based off of how he moves if it's gonna be compromised. Or the tape will help him. If he's healthy,
I say Rams if he's not full health. Yeah,
I agree. Anything less than a 90% JJ, Rams win. But JJ can get after Stafford.
Yeah, yes, he can. I do think at the end of the day, the NFC Conference Championship will probably be Packers Bucks, and Rodgers will do what he always does and loses the NFC game. And we'll have honestly, if I were to do a Super Bowl prediction, I would say Bucks from the NFC and either Titans or probably Chiefs.
I'm locking in Patriots versus Bucks. Like I said halfway through the season and what I said at the start. Is it realistic? It's realistic. It's feasible.
If I had to pick one, I think I'd pick the Titans.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
I'd say Titans.
I'm gonna trust. I'm gonna say
locking it in.
Let's go Patriots, who are likely gone this weekend, but shh. Let's go Patriots and let's go Bucks. Let's go for my ideal Super Bowl.
I'm gonna say Titans Bucks because that would be. I mean, I would love to see the Chiefs there again, but I would also like to really enjoy a Super Bowl.
You don't want it's been a while. Chiefs again? I would take that because Tom Brady would run circles around you guys again.
I really do not want to see a Chiefs Bucks Super Bowl for a very long time. Just no.
Want me to be an asshole to you for a little bit because I was a dick to you after that happened. But my boy had left home and I was sad.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, well, I had to watch my quarterback win with a different team, which you in theory will never have to do.
Probably not.
No, I don't think Mahomes is leaving. No one wants his family.
But yeah, I mean, the only other thing left to predict for the season would be the awards. I mean, we did talk a little bit about Rookie of the Year already. Jamar Chase is like I said, I think he'd personally be my pick. But then you also have Mika Parsons, the linebacker for the Cowboys, 84 tackles, 13 sacks. 20 tackles for loss. That's a great season.
Oh, that's an unreal season.
Especially when you think about just the Cowboy season as a whole. That's again a lot. There's a lot under his belt as well that puts weight on his side of the tipping scale here. If you're comparing Jamar and Mika, but. Jalen Waddle's also in the mix. I think if it's going to go to a wide receiver, it's going to go to Jamar Chase.
Yep.
I know Kyle Pitts was in the talk, but I definitely don't think he's getting it. And then I think the only other potential one would be Mac Jones. And I think the weight he holds is just being a quarterback first off and being the only rookie quarterback to take his team to the playoffs.
Yeah. I'm actually split between Mika Parsons and Mac. So you did
really.
Mac is obviously gets the automatic a one up. I kind of call him because he's a quarterback.
Yeah, exactly.
And then another one up because he actually managed to take his team to the playoffs, and he was the best rookie quarterback of this class as of right now. I'm not saying in the long run, but right now. But that Mika Parsons stat line is
right?
unbelievable. And personally, like taking away my biases, I would go with Mika. I would think that he is the right choice, but he's a linebacker. And how often do rookie linebackers win this award? I can't name
They're not
one.
even often considered for this award.
No.
So I think that in itself says a lot about like the kind of player he is and how well he did this season.
Yeah, so I think Mac Jones would have been like a shoo-in if he had broke Dak's accuracy record. He fell just a couple passes, unfortunately, too short. So I thought he was a shoo-in because I did think he was going to beat the record. Now I think it's how much weight does that quarterback bring? Like,
that's
is it as
that's
big
the
as
real
we
question.
talk about MVP? And we're about to learn because like objectively, it's Mika Parsons. Even after Jamar Chase's season, no one had a bigger impact on their team than Mika Parsons.
Because I mean, unless they like, let's say Mika Parsons doesn't get this award, and he is also considered just like overall defensive player of the year. But also in that mix, you have Trayvon Diggs, who also plays for the Cowboys, and
deserves it.
I would argue that he had a bigger impact on the Cowboys than Mika Parsons did. But I think Mika Parsons had a phenomenal rookie season. Like when you're just talking about one rookie season, like yeah, he had a great season. But Trayvon Diggs showed the fuck up this year.
Oh, I agree.
And
it's
phenomenal.
J.C. Jackson, he's also up for this award.
Defensive?
For DPO. Well, he's a Patriots quarterback. He put up more interceptions. Like he was keeping pace with Diggs and had more impact on the Patriots defense than Diggs had on the Cowboys. And it's so common for him to do these things that he just never gets the recognition. So now that he's up for the award, I really want him to win that award because he deserves it. He deserved it more last year, so don't get me wrong. Like Darnold does not deserve 2 or 3 that he has. So I'm like kind of hoping we get Jackson one because he did the same thing as Diggs did, just small or like I guess smaller lights because at that point the Patriots weren't doing amazing. So I'm intrigued. I will agree with you though that I'd give it to Diggs. Like if the Cowboys defense were to get an award, like just one of the players, yeah, I would go Diggs over Parsons. You're absolutely correct there.
And that's where I see like, you know, maybe they will give Parsons the recognition in the rookie player of the year and then because I don't think there's like a defensive rookie award, is there? No. So that's
why I'm like, my money, if I had to bet, the safest bet is Mika Parsons off of his tackles. Or no, sorry, that's wrong. The safest bet is a quarterback because these awards go to quarterbacks.
But yeah, I would say the top 3 are like Jamar Chase, Mika Parsons, and like Mac Jones. Like not in that order, but like I think those are the 3 main contenders for the Rookie of the Year award. And you know that's following Justin Herbert last year. So
and that's probably why I think it's going to be Mac.
Yeah,
because the year before wasn't it? What's his face?
Wasn't it Kyler Murray?
Yeah, thank you. I was literally being like, what's his face? He's the Cardinals quarterback. Yeah, so
I'm pretty sure it was Kyler Murray the year before that for rookie. So yeah, it's usually a quarterback. So I won't be surprised if they end up giving it to Mac Jones, but I do think that the other 2 are a bit more deserving than he is.
And then the final thing that we wanted to cover, and the award that we like to say is really a quarterback award instead of it being the most valuable player. We got some players.
When you think of this as a quarterback award, the really only 3 contenders we have this season: Rodgers, Brady, and Burrow. In my personal opinion,
I agree with you there.
I think out of the 3, Burrow probably, maybe just based on the stat line alone, nah.
No, I can tell you right now, it will come down to Brady or Rodgers. If they're going to go quarterback. If this is the first season where I actually think we could go wide receiver or running back. So
that's the other thing is that these three quarterbacks are great, but I personally think that the two other people we have on this list, which are Jonathan Taylor and Cooper Kupp, deserve it more than these three quarterbacks.
wholeheartedly, absolutely. It won't go to either of them. I'd give it to either of them. I think Jonathan Taylor is who I would pick if I
I
had
just
to
love
vote.
to see them break that.
I agree.
That pattern.
I agree.
Because this is the year to do it. If you're gonna do it, it's gonna be this year because you actually have worthy non-QB players that are in the running for this.
Oh, yeah. And so it's not going to go to Jonathan Taylor because if Derrick Henry couldn't win an MVP for any of the seasons he's put up, it's not going to Taylor. I'd want to I would want it to be Taylor because that when you
I feel like
most
if he didn't
valuable
get
player-
injured, if he didn't get injured this season, I feel like he'd be there over Jonathan Taylor. Because he was holding the league in
Henry?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was top of the league until he got hurt.
Even negating that, I'm just thinking compared to any other stat line Derrick Henry's put up over the last 3 years. Any of the last 3 years should have won Henry of an MVP. But then if we're talking MVP in the sense of, it is the most valuable player, and they talk about, well, the most valuable player on a field would be the quarterback. And to me, I'm like, no, it's your most versotile. It's the one that can do the most to bring you the closest to your goal.
And
that's
who was
Jonathan
that
Taylor.
this season?
Taylor should win it because he did absolutely everything for the Colts. He's the only reason the Colts had an opportunity for a win and you're in game in the playoffs. And of course, Carson Wentz is going to do what he does and lose that game. Should have been an easy game beating the Jaguars. Cooper Kupp, you would think that he'd get a lot more with what he did. He's a triple crown winner, and what that means is he led the league in receptions, yards, and TDs. So 138 receptions for just over 1,800 yards and 15 touchdowns. That is just video game level.
He was
disgusting.
Literally 2 touchdowns shy of a touchdown a game.
Yeah. He was a video game. This is just a cheat code in a video game. He's not going to win though. He should.
No.
No,
like I said, this would be the year to give it to a non-quarterback. I will be pleasantly surprised if they do give it to Taylor or Kupp.
Yeah.
I would be the happiest if they gave it to Joe Burrow, and I would just not be surprised at all if they gave it to Rodgers or Brady. So those are my pre-reactions.
I'm thinking, because I'm staring at this, I'm like, I don't want to say Rodgers, but
I don't think they would give it to him back to back though. That's why he's kind of I just
but don't
count
think
it
about
out
that.
in my mind.
You can't think about last season influencing this season if they put up the same, because Brady,
because he still deserves he still deserves
these
to be
numbers
in the running
in another season, and so it's not his fault that he won it last year. It really isn't his fault. I am drawn to the fact that if we have to separate the three quarterbacks, the easiest way to separate them is interceptions. And Rodgers has 4 on the year. Now, he played in fewer games, which also means his yards are less than the other two. His touchdowns are less than Brady, but still more than Burrow by 1. Less accurate, but not statistically different. You have 66, 68, and 70 for
he
Brady,
still held
Rodgers,
his
and
own.
Burrow. So it's one where I could see them very easily going for Rodgers if he had not brought up his vax status. I don't think Rodgers is going to get it because people have already acknowledged they're not going to vote for him because of his vax status.
And that's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, that's his own fault. So
and then it's going to come down to, okay, you have Brady versus Joe Burrow, 40 touchdowns compared to 34 with less interceptions by 2, but still less interceptions. We don't have
he kept it
Brady's
close.
Passers rating, so I can't tell you for sure how much more it was. This is where we could see league bias come in. Are you going to want to give it to your quote-unquote face of the league? Because Brady, Rodgers, those QBs, Mahomes. and let the faces of the league win it? Or are you going to give it to your up-and-coming, your next QB class that Burrow's going to be the face of the league in like 2-3 years?
I feel like if Burrow doesn't get it this year, yeah, like you just said, like in the next 2 or 3 years, like that is something that I see him getting. So like,
yeah, if it's,
I can understand why they won't give it to him this season, but I do think he did put up the numbers to, you know, have the consideration and to be recognized among Brady and Rodgers.
Wholeheartedly agree with you there. So if I could choose without this being a QB biased award, I'd go Jonathan Taylor.
I think I'd go Cup.
Cup, you absolutely, I could see that. He was a video game cheat code. Like, 100%, you can't go wrong with either of them.
He was fun to watch. He, you know, on a good, respectable team.
Yeah. My thing is Taylor
Triple
didn't have
Crown.
a quarterback, whereas Cup has a quarterback in Stafford. So I'm just thinking, okay, Taylor, like, that's a good one because without Taylor, Colts finish dead last. Without Cup, I don't think the Rams finish out of the playoffs still.
No, I think without Cup, the possibility of, like, if Cup got injured this season, I don't think it would have hindered as much as if Jonathan Taylor got injured.
But I don't think you're wrong giving it to either of those players. I do think it's wrong going to a quarterback, unfortunately. I think number-wise, 456 out of 682 for just below 5,000 yards might be enough for Brady to win it. If we took it's Rodgers. Rodgers lost the award for the dumbest reason. It's annoying. Yeah. He's going to lose this award because of the vax status, but he's your MVP of this league because of the bias to quarterbacks, and he's had what I want to call the cleanest stat line. It was a very clean stat line. I hate it. But I would give it to Rodgers.
If you're not considering anything other than just football, it's probably Rodgers. But like you said, we already know that some votes are going to go to other people because of his outside choices.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm really excited to see where it goes this year because like I said, I think this could be the year they give it to a non-QB with every reason to do so.
Fingers crossed. Absolutely.
But so I guess that's. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
You're going with Cup, or are you going to say
if we're going to do a quarterback, I'm still going to say Joe Burrow. I don't think they're going to give it to him ultimately. At the end of the day, I think it's Brady. Like realistically, it's probably going to go to Brady. If they were smart to give it to a non-quarterback, I'd say Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, so if you had a vote, you'd be voting Kupp?
Yeah.
If I had a vote, I'd be voting Taylor. So, yeah.
That's fair.
So I guess ultimately who we're vote or who we pick for when we come back and discuss the awards, who wins. But
was there anything else you wanted to get out before we hop off?
No, go Patriots. Hopefully we'll see you in the AFC conference in the championship, and hopefully we beat you like we did a couple years ago.
I hope that, like the past 2 years, we can avoid the Patriots. But yeah, that's all we have for this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, rate, and review the show. The show is available on Apple, Spotify, and wherever else you get your podcasts. If you have any questions you want us to answer on the show, you can give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and leave your question in the review. And we'll start to go through any questions for the girls that we get at the end of our episodes. And thank you for tuning in. We'll be back next Wednesday with some college football season wrap up. Let's go.
Ooh.
Listen in to Primetime Dimes every Wednesday for your latest on football.